Monica Kenneth Grant is a civil rights activist, organizer, and writer, and a public speaker in Boston. She was born and raised in Boston and recently resided in Roxbury for 16 years. In 2016, she was a candidate for state representative for the 7th Suffolk District. Monica sits on the advisory board for an organization named Community Call, advocating to prevent homelessness for youth. She's the CEO and founder of the Balance in Boston, Inc., an organization highlighting disparities around balance in communities of color. Monica has been an op-ed contributor to both the Boston Globe and Commonwealth magazine in regards to balance prevention. In 2017, Monica was the lead organizer of the White Supremacy March to counter protest the Boston Free Speech Rally in the city of Boston, where 445,000 people marched against racism. In 2018, she organized a Black Women's and Marginalized Genders Conference where over 250 women of color came to support, empower, and uplift each other. In 2019, Monica was the lead organizer of White Supremacy, Hands Off Our Pride, a counter-protest to straight pride in the city of Boston. Her advocacy continues today. BMHS, join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Mrs. Monica Kenneth Grant.
Whew. What time is it? What time is it? What time is it?
It's 9:50.
Okay, it's still morning. Good morning. I'm not gonna stand behind there. It just feels awkward, and that's not me. So thank you guys for having me. I had no idea it was this many students, so I'm a little anxious, so just bear with me. But shout out to you guys for an amazing performance. So he did a good job introducing me. I'm not gonna repeat any of that stuff, and I know you guys wanna hear about the activism piece, but I kinda gotta give you a quick little synopsis of who I am before we jump into all the trouble I caused. So 2016, I ran for state representative in Roxbury, lost my election by 90 votes, broke my heart. 2017, organized my first protest of 45,000 people in response to the young woman who was killed in Charlottesville, Virginia, as an ally protesting, screaming that Black Lives Matter. Since then, that was the beginning of me getting on the radar of people that love me and people that hate me. It could go one of two ways. 2018, continued to protest, continued to advocate for communities of color. Fast forward, 2020, George Floyd gets murdered on camera. Organized one of Boston's only peaceful protests, 55,000 people, not one person was arrested. And you may ask, why is that important? Well, that's important because the day before there was a protest, we all watched the violence that ensued in Boston. Police cars was burned. People were running in and out of stores. I wanted to prove a point. There's a narrative that if you say Black Lives Matter and you protest, that we're just out in the streets tearing up stuff. So I did the protest the very next day after all of that violence to prove that that's not what's happening. We're literally saying Black Lives Matter. Now, that doesn't mean your life doesn't matter. I want to be the person to debunk the narrative of all the stuff you see on TV and all the propaganda. When we say Black Lives Matter, that means they haven't always mattered. Does not mean your life doesn't matter, doesn't mean Black Lives Matter more. Understood? So, we organized that protest, not one arrest. It was phenomenal. That same year, I was able to help get 2 pieces of legislation passed with the assistance of Elizabeth Warren. Who knows Elizabeth Warren? And Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. We got the Eric Gardner chokehold bill passed so that anybody in custody who is being choked and screams and say they need medical attention can receive it. And the Andrew Curse Act. Andrew Curse died in the back of a police car in Schenectady, New York, after saying that he wasn't feeling well, and within 10 minutes, he was dead by the time he got to the police station. Those are the 2 things that happened in addition to the protests in 2020. After that, I launched my own organization, so that I could continue to take care of people. We did a food pantry feeding 500 to 600 people per month, number of different protests. I brought a couple of things to show you. So, me and the former mayor of Boston didn't get along for a while. He's cool now, just a FYI in case y'all know him. But we didn't get along. 269 days, I protested him. I was 6 months pregnant, laying on the mayor's floor because he was trying to close the schools in Boston. At the same time, that violence has spiked. After 269 days, he finally decided to meet with me. That's great, right? In my mind. I made the front page of the Boston Globe 3 times in 1 year because I called the mayor the M word. I'm not gonna say it, but it's mother something, okay? I wouldn't advise you do that. I don't want nobody saying that Monica said, call your teachers or anybody the M word, but that's what I did because he was pissing me off. And I wanna show you that, it's the bottom one. This is what I received when I made the front page of the Boston Globe because I'm the first person in history to call the mayor the M word. Right? Don't do it. Again, don't do it. It was a different time. I also was honored by the Boston Celtics, the Boston Bruins, and for 2020 made Bostonian of the Year. But I think the award that I love the most are these two here, and it says, Boston Magazine's 100 Most Influential People, right? You're like, Monica, what does that matter? I wasn't showing you because I was trying to get clout, I promise you. The significance of that is all of those things happened in the year 2020. It was an amazing year. Every award you could possibly think of, every honor I have received, citations from City Hall, honored by the Attorney General, honored by all these people. Elizabeth Warren sent me a plaque for my activism. But there's another side to activism that I want to talk to you guys about that's not so attractive. And that's understanding that when you have power, there are a lot of people who are angry about it as a Black person. 2021, I had received over 250 death threats. I've had my door kicked in. I have spreadsheets of every attack. They sent me pictures of my children threatening to kill us. There are people who troll me on a regular basis on social media. There's nowhere I can go where I feel safe. I had to hire security. I don't go anywhere without cameras. I drive a black-on-black vehicle where you can't see in. Because the truth of the matter is being a Black activist can very well mean your life. Everybody likes to make it look attractive on TV and on social media, but the downside is that when you're going up against people of power, there is a trauma associated with that. In 2021, the federal government ran in my house with AK-47s in my face after I had just gave birth 2 weeks prior, with a bunch of accusations, and I looked like a deer caught in the headlights. But automatically, I understood what was happening. The same government that killed Martin Luther King, the same government that assassinated Fred Hampton, the same government that killed Malcolm X was now in my house. Now, you would think they just came out of nowhere. That makes no sense. No. In 2017, when I organized my first protest, was the first time I was contacted by the FBI because I ended up on a Black extremist watch list. What that means is because I was protesting and organizing people in thousands, I was deemed a threat. Every time I would do a protest, the FBI would text my phone. And I tell you these things so that you are understanding your history. We can't change the future if we don't know where we came from. But this delusion that all of this stuff happened with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Assata Shakur and all these people, and it doesn't happen today is a lie. I am a living witness. Now, when you Google me, it looks crazy. You would think I was Pablo Escobar. But the truth of the matter is I was told emphatically that the reason this was happening to me is because I became too powerful and my mouth was too big. Now, that's not to discourage you to mobilize, become an activist, advocate for your community, or any of those things. It's so you will be aware. It's so you will understand what you sign up for. Because for as much as people love to jump in front of the protest, and I've been on every channel, 4, 5, 7, and the animal channel, okay? The other piece is it comes with trauma, it comes with responsibility, and it comes with a lot of hatred from people who don't want things to change. They want you guys to hate each other. They want you to feel like, what can I do? And to the white students in here, I know it's an uncomfortable conversation around race. It doesn't feel good. And a lot of people like to say, well, I don't see color. I want you to see my color. That's the problem. When we're screaming in the streets, when things are happening, like Tyree Nichols that we just recently watched 5 black officers and 1 white officer beat him to death, the issue with that is it should not happen from those who are supposed to protect us. When we talk about dismantling police departments, we're talking about the system. There's a systematic failure in that structure. And we can always argue, there are good cops. The issue is the moment that the good cops speak up, they get ostracized. So as you navigate Black History Month, and I'm talking to the white students now, compassion, empathy. Yeah, it's not your story, but try to understand that it's not black and white photos, it's still happening. Racism still exists. We had to get a Crown Act just for us to wear the hair that grows out of our head naturally. That's a problem. When we talk about white privilege, I know a lot of people are like, well, I'm white and I'm poor. I don't got no privilege. What are you talking about? The privilege is your skin color is not stopping you from receiving anything. But the moment I show up, before I open my mouth and you get to know who I am, I've already been judged by certain people. And that's what we mean by white privilege. If you have questions about some of the things you see around Black Lives Matter or during Black History Month, ask. People would love to say Monica hates white people. She just wants to keep us separate and divisive. No, I hate systems of white supremacy. That's a difference. A big difference. And a lot of people would love to spew hatred because it's the easy thing to do. But it takes that extra step to actually try to understand each other and have conversations with each other and dismantle all the things that a lot of adults have screwed up. My grandmother used to say to me, civil rights is won in every generation. That means I caused a bunch of trouble, but eventually it's gonna be you guys causing a bunch of trouble. And then your kids are gonna be causing a bunch of trouble. Make it count. Make it count. We didn't get it right. You're gonna make mistakes, make it count. Understand that the way that this country is structured, Black people suffer 10 times worse just for being Black before they can do anything, commit a crime, go to school, just be. And that's what people are trying to get everybody in the world to understand. But you wanna know what the best thing in the world happened? COVID. COVID made it so everybody was at home. So all the things that us as Black people knew were happening, now the world got a chance to see the video recordings of people being killed for no reason, and even when they were cooperating. And it highlighted that we have a problem. And I think 90% of the people in this room would agree, we have a problem. The question is how do we fix it? Well, it starts with you guys. Start having those uncomfortable conversations. If you see one of your friends being discriminated against, don't just stand there. People always talk about allies, allies, allies. I don't want any allies. Because oftentimes allies don't do much. I want accomplices. You guys understand what an accomplice is, right? Yes? No? Y'all can talk back to me, you know that, right? Oh, okay. An accomplice means that you're gonna stand right here with me and fight this fight. That you're not gonna let nobody do anything harmful to me, and I'm not gonna let anybody do anything harmful to you. So as you guys progress through Black History Month, and I know that's the month where it's just like, it's Black everything. It's a lot of Black stuff happening, I get it. Right? I had the audacity to come, big earrings, bangles, Black boots. I blacked the hell out of this outfit, you understand? Tupac, right? But consider it like St. Patrick's Day. You know how you guys throw on your green and everybody drinks beer? That's what Black History Month is for us. Every chance we get to show our culture and where we come from, we want to do it. But don't isolate yourself. You celebrate with us. Just take the time to talk to each other. Take the time to read and learn for yourself. Don't let no one dictate to you how you should feel and what you should believe. Get all the facts. I'm now facing the federal government as I stand here. That's my life. I knew what I signed up for. And when I beat this case, we're gonna have a party. Now, I could have came in here and skipped all over that and not told y'all that, but I function from a place of transparency. There's nothing that I did that I'm ashamed of. Every person I ever advocated for, every protest I ever organized, every floor I ever laid on, no matter where you are and what you do, I'm proud of what I did, regardless of how it looks now. The last thing I would say to you is again, do not let social media, TV, magazines dictate to you what's actually happening in the world. Well, Monica, I read online and they said you did this. The truth of the matter is I ran a food pantry. Do you believe that everybody that came to that food pantry was Black? No. A lot of those people walked in there with Blue Lives Matter shirts on and they were pro-Trump. Did that bother me? No. You want to know why? Because they were hungry. Who cares? And that is why I was powerful. And that is why I was a problem. Diplomacy. The same people who are on the opposition, whose politics I do not agree with, didn't change the fact that they were hungry, didn't change the fact that they needed help, didn't change the fact that they were regular people. And a lot of the things that they believed were based on ignorance. So this notion that we have to keep going through this, watching things happen, and hate each other, attack each other, is exactly what politicians would love for you to do. Because if we're fighting, we're not talking. We're not paying attention to whatever they're trying to legislate or do. And don't get me wrong, there's some people who are comfortable in their hatred. You're not going to talk away racism, so that's not what I'm telling you. But for those who really don't understand or want to know, and you feel comfortable and have the capacity to have that conversation, have the conversation. I'm pro-love. I'm pro whoever is pro-me. But I'm also Black as hell. Right? The last thing I'll say is this. Regardless of what side of the fence you're on, when we watched that video of Tyreek Nichols, how many people have seen the video? Raise your hand. For a lot of us that watched that video who are mothers, it hurt mothers. Regardless of what color you were, regardless of what you look like, as a mother, to hear that young man scream for his mother, who was 80 feet away, and she could not get to him to help him, broke every mother's heart in the world. And the humanity in that is what needs to be seen. We can say, well, the officers were Black. They still function within a system that was structured to harm Black bodies. The bigger issue is regardless if Tyree was Black or white, it shouldn't have happened by law enforcement. Understood? So as we go through Black History Month, and you got your friends and you're hanging out and there's celebrations here, learn, read. They say the easiest way to hide something from somebody is in a book. Prove them wrong. And if you piss off a couple of people, it's okay, they'll get over it. I piss off people on a regular basis just by showing up. You ever walk into a room and somebody hold their breath? She's here. People think you want to fight even when you don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I'm old now. Believe it or not, I have 6 kids. My oldest is 24. Yeah, Black don't crack. I'll do you one better. I recently became a grandmother. So I still willing to protest. I'm just a little slower now. I let other young people go protest and I just show up and support them instead of laying on the mayor's floor, because it takes a little time to get up now. You know, after you hit 40, you gotta warm up like a Buick. You can't just jump up. But I wanna thank you guys for having me. You seem to have an awesome school. Again, it's not gonna happen overnight. But if you guys are the ones on the front lines bringing about change, it can happen. Part of the reason why I still fight and get up every day is because I believe that it can happen. But you guys gotta believe it. And adults, we didn't get it all right. We don't know everything. You guys are super smart. If something don't sit right with you, question it, ask. If you're feeling uncomfortable about something, sit in that discomfort and figure out why is it making you uncomfortable. I'm Monica Cannon Grant. Thank you guys for having me.